What are we about to do?
About to burn our faces off.
That's right. We're gonna eat some wings with some hot sauce.
I'm nervous.
Just speaking, let it happen.
I just don't even want to intro it so it doesn't have to start and we don't have to do it.
Well, let's do it because the camera's on.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am here with my boyfriend today and we're gonna do a little Q&A and eat some hot sauce.
About to get hot in here. Let's get to see what we're working with. We got a lineup of 10 hot sauces that get hotter as you go. So I think at the top one is the least hot, and as you go across all the way to the bottom right is the hottest one. So, wow. Oh no. I'm all laid out. Least hot, the hottest hot. In between us, we have our plate of death. We're gonna go all the way from the back to the front.
And I'm gonna read the question that you guys asked, then we're gonna dip, eat, then answer. Okay, that sound good?
Yeah.
And just for reference, the least hot one, the classic, it has 1,800 Scoville heat units, right? And the hottest one has 2,693,000.
Okay. Alright.
Okay.
Jared, please protect our mouths because they're about to burn really bad, and make sure that this milk exceeds the power that it was designed for to extinguish all the heat that we're about to experience. Amen.
In your name we praise. Pray.
Amen again.
Amen again. First question. How did you meet? What were your initial feelings when you first saw/met?
Okay.
Saw each other
So you want
slash-
to pick these up first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna be too hot.
It's okay.
I'm doing little tiny bites. I don't need to eat a ton. Oh,
Okay. That's not bad at all.
no.
So, how we meet? I saw you on Instagram, and I was scrolling. I just moved down to Tampa, and I was just wanting to meet people because I don't really know anyone yet. And so naturally, I wanted to meet women. So what I did was I was scrolling on Instagram, seeing where women go to.
And where were you scrolling?
What do you mean?
Where did you find me?
Oh, so I saw this picture as I was looking at different areas in Tampa, and I saw this girl who had this cupcake thing, and she was in this little dessert shop, and I was like, she's kind of cute. And then I looked at her profile, and she was in fitness at the time, and so I was in fitness at the time too, with social media and all that. And so I was like, oh, maybe we can just go to the gym or something, and yeah, see what happens. Maybe she's cool.
Yeah.
And so, at first I thought she was cute, but I honestly, had just the intention of meeting people and making friends.
Yeah, moving down to Tampa.
Yeah. And so, then I DM'd you.
Then he DM'd me.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was actually just visiting. I went down with my friend Bianca, and of course we went out and got content. And yeah, we went to this little dessert shop. I forget what it was called, but a little dessert shop. And we both had these matching outfits on. We took pictures and cupcakes. They were really cute, actually. Yeah. And so I was just visiting, came back to Ohio. I was still with my ex at this point, and so he DMs me. And I read the message, and I'm like, no, I don't even live there. I have with somebody. So yeah, I kind of just brushed it off and was like, no, thank you. And then a month later, I moved down too. So everything changed at that point, and he DMs me again. He's like, hey, I see you're in Tampa again. Do you want to go to the gym? And I was like, yeah, sure. But I was so not wanting to meet people at this point, obviously heartbroken and just not in a season of especially men. I didn't want to meet a man. And but I agreed for some reason because again we were both into fitness, like it was maybe networking, whatever. No, I got cold feet. I ghosted him, and I felt so bad. Like a week later.
Yeah, I was just kind of
Yeah, you didn't care. A week later, I voice noted him, and I'm like, "Hey, sorry for ghosting you. I'm just not ready to meet men in that circumstance, if that's what it was." And he was like, "Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of that." So we ended up meeting for sushi. I think like a week later, maybe.
Yeah,
a few days later.
Yeah, and I walked in and you looked like a chessboard. I was like,
I had a
is that her?
I had a checker set on.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had sushi, and it was like one of the best conversations ever.
Yeah, you're insane energy.
Yeah, so are you. Both of us. We were just like almost shouting, having our conversation.
Yeah, they're looking at us like, who are these people?
We're talking about all the different like wellness stuff, EFT tapping, like
yeah.
It was really, really awesome conversation. But then from there, I think a week later I was leaving for travel. Yeah, it was just like meeting up, whatever, not a date by any means. And then a week later I left and traveled for 3 months. And then you messaged me on New Year's, that's what it was.
Yeah, I messaged you on New
back.
Year's. Yeah, I think I messaged you one time. I was like, it looks like you're having fun.
Oh yeah, when I was in Thailand.
Yeah. So then I didn't really talk to you again, so you were back.
Yeah.
And I saw you were back, so it's like, I don't know what you up to tonight.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, he messaged me for New Year's, and I'm like, actually, I don't really like go out and party, but you can take me to sushi, or we can do sushi.
You're like, I spend New Year's making my intentions, but if you want to do sushi, we can do that. And I was like, alright, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then it's when we met back up at whatever that place was called.
Noble Rice.
Noble Rice. And then you walked in, I was like, hey, alright. She's hot.
I mean, you didn't
the
think
second,
it the first time?
well, the second time around, I was like, yeah, she's extra spicy. Like this.
Yeah. And then from there, we were just more so friends, and we just continued to get to know each other, and then we got more and more serious, and then
we just kind of evolved.
Now we're in love.
That's right. Now we're eating wings and about to rip our mouths off in the process.
And some technical difficulties, so we're back again.
Yeah, we're glitching around. Anyway, so yeah, when I walked in, at first I was like, oh, she's pretty cool, unique. And then, we talked and all that. I was like, yeah, she's awesome. Then we walk out and I get on my phone and I see her making a TikTok about like when you're just not ready to talk to guys, but he's flirting with you the entire time. And it was basically this video, and I was like, she sucks. I was like, I never want to talk to her again. She sucks. I was like, the ego on this chick is insane.
No, so what happened was I got on TikTok afterwards, and this video had popped up, and it was like when somebody tries to talk to you when you're in your healing era, and it was so funny. I literally, because I didn't consider it a date, I didn't think of it like that at all. I didn't put 2 and 2 together at all. So I remake this video and posted like right after we left.
Yeah, and I'm in the car, I see it pop up, and I'm like this. I'm like, bro, this chick.
It was probably within
Tampa
30
women.
minutes.
Like, Tampa women don't change, I guess.
It was probably within 30 minutes of us like leaving.
Yeah.
Maybe like an hour or whatever that I posted that. I did not even think of that. I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, I was like, that was so specific to the situation. I was like, bruh.
But it was literally, I didn't even think of it. I didn't realize that even happened probably until, 4 months ago when you had brought it up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this chick sucks.
You still came back. You did.
You kind of met in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
You following up multiple times.
I don't like how you posing this right now because it's not true. You're the one who hit me up about our sushi date.
You pursued me. It's okay.
I think you pursued me too. It's the sushi date.
Okay. Anyways, my first impression of Mason was
sexy.
Honestly, slightly intimidated. You have a very powerful presence. And I also was just like very, what's the word? like timid entering back into like communicating with men. But I definitely thought you were cute, and you seemed very, very into wellness, which I loved, and very like in your masculine energy, which I also loved. So, but after our conversation, I'm like, dude, this guy's awesome. I loved our conversation. But then I was like prancing off into travel for 3 months. So
Yeah.
But yeah, then once we came back and we went to our other sushi date, I would probably consider that our first date because you actually paid for it. Like the other one, again, it was just us meeting as friends. I paid for my food, he paid for his. And yeah, it was a really good conversation. I feel like every time we hung out, it was just so fun.
Yeah. I think the first real date was when we did the double date.
The double date with Brian and Bianca?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that felt like a date.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, it was like a couple.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But yeah, no, we both had panic attacks that night.
That's a conversation for another.
No, we both had panic attacks.
We did both basically have panic attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's the biggest hurdle you've had to work through together? That's a good one.
That's a good one. What sauce we got? Little Dicks.
Little Dicks, Ghost Pepper Pear, 6900 SHU.
Oh god.
I'm nervous.
Sauce.
Jaws. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, you really only know how healed you are until you get into a relationship, and then a lot more triggers and like deep wounds that maybe you just don't realize when you're alone, you know? So being with somebody that's also very healed, it's challenging to like then reflect on your own ish and be like, oh, there's a lot of stuff that I still need to heal from, and I'm not to say I'm not as far along, but it's just like you're realizing deeper things that you just didn't realize before. So
Yeah.
I've come to terms with that. I have a lot more like protection mechanisms that I didn't necessarily realize before. Not as much in my feminine, and like I've found it challenging to fully submit and surrender. I can be kind of like a little bit stubborn,
Yeah.
and so
That's been part of the biggest challenge for me. Is one is like getting more like vulnerable and authentic about what I'm feeling and expressing. Like I remember at the beginning I was like shaking with like the feeling of just like expressing, because it was like, I don't know, it was just hard. But yeah, too, like there were times you would annoy me when you get in like your masculine energy, and like the patience I had to develop going through that to like not take it like that personally, and understand that it was just like a reflection of where you were at. That was hard for me. And there's a lot of tension that comes with that because I always wanted to fix things and just like fix the situation. And so yeah, I think like with some of your things you would shut down, and then I'd be like, yo, what is going on? And so like just sitting in that tension of myself, but also like being able to like vocalize what I was experiencing more has been like the biggest challenge. And I think for us it's just like relating in a clean way that is healthy and isn't about like taking things personally. It's about like a focus on growth more than anything, because if that's not there, it's just a waste of time. And it's like we both need to be growing and value God above everything else. And so that's like where the direction has been going. And through that process, like I personally have, like it's shown me a deeper relating with God too.
Yeah, I think it's just a constant evolution of growing your patience for the other person as they evolve, and then also like you're evolving too, and like continuing to stay connected and God-centered. And
like me, I see her as a mirror. So it's like you're a mirror for my growth, because if I feel a certain way about something you do or like a reaction, it's telling me a part of myself that is still a shadow that needs to have light on it. So.
But we're killing it.
Yeah, Now let's go to number 3.
How do you deal with fights and key areas you disagree in? Number 3.
Neil's Real Deal with smoked onion, 17,000 Scoville units. It's not bad.
No. Okay. Well, we communicate a lot. We have a lot of deep conversations where we try to hold space for each other and not let our ego get involved. Not trying to take things personally or it's one or the other person's fault. It's like you together attacking the issue or like communicating the issue rather than like one side versus the other.
Yeah. And you both have to take accountability because it's like both your fault. A lot of people just want to blame. It's better for everybody to over communicate so that there's nothing left behind for things like resentment or frustration or anger to even build up in the first place. Because otherwise, like if there's questions left unanswered, questions are going to be asked. That's a bar. And so you have to over communicate, but also like the approach we have is it's about attacking the problem and not each other, right? It's like conflict and disagreements are going to happen. You're two people. You're not Siamese twins, so you're going to have a different perspective of things. And so that's okay. But it's like you have to make it about the problem. And if you can frame it instead of like conflict, it's constructive growing, then that's the same exact process as two people collabing to make music. And it's like you can then make a symphony if you choose to frame it that way instead of trying to jam who has the best beat.
I think also something that we try to keep at the forefront is that both people have like the space, the capacity, the energy to have whatever conversation is coming up, because sometimes, you know, you're just not in the right mindset to have the conversation. And so communicating that rather than like trying to go into the conversation and then getting super frustrated, flustered, whatever it is, like, hey, I actually don't have the capacity to have this conversation right now. Can we put a pin in it and have this conversation later? Of course, having the conversation as soon as possible is always best. Some of those conversations need a lot of energy and capacity, and like if it's not there, then it's not going to be constructive to have the conversation anyways. And something I love about you is that you're really adamant about not going to bed upset at each other, and you do really push to have communication and conversation, and I appreciate that you lead in that way.
Yeah, I mean, you program your brain otherwise to find reasons to be pissed off at each other. But like something I did do that's unconventional, I don't know if you liked it that much, but we did collaborate on it, is I made like a rules of engagement for conflict, and we both had to sign off on it.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people would be like, that's a little extreme or whatever, but it gives a sense of accountability into how you negotiate, into how you not negotiate, but how you resolve the conflict and have rules about it, because obviously when you're a high emotional state, you're not going to make rational decisions. And so when the emotions are too high, like you can't even look at the problem without seeing the other person as the problem. And so I think it's silly that people will even go get married and talk about all these things together and sign an agreement on that, but not even have an agreement of how they're going to resolve the problems when they come up. And it's like you got to have an operating agreement in business, you know, to operate well with your partner. So you might as well be doing it the same in the relationship.
And in the back of your mind, that they have the best intentions, instead of like assuming that they're trying to hurt you or they're trying to do harm and that they're malicious in general. If you have that in your mindset, then whatever conversation that you're going into or whatever circumstance, you're going to have a negative outlook. But if you think the best of your partner and that, you know, whatever is going on, they didn't have ill intentions, it's going to be much easier to resolve whatever conversation that you're having.
100p.
Okay. Living situation, engagement, marriage, timeline, and expectations, children. It's a lot in one.
It's a lot.
How hot is this one?
36,000. We just went from 17 here.
$17,000?
You have to just. Not hot.
It's not hot.
Well, we live in separate homes.
We live in separate homes.
But we both have homes. We both just came from apartments too.
Yes, so we both lived in the same apartment complex at our last place, which we loved. We were able to have our own space, but be really close to each other and spend a lot of time together. We still live really close to each other now, but obviously we've upgraded to more space, which both of us love that energy. But we won't live together until we get married. So it's just a decision that we've agreed on for ourselves. Mine's a religious standpoint, so I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so like, I just love, like, space, personally. I just love space right now.
I mean, I love space too, but...
So I think, like, you know, right now as we just keep developing deeper in the relationship until it's like a full set in stone thing, where for me, I'm like, yeah, it's like a clean place where we can fully go into it. Because, like, we are growing through things and working through things.
Right.
And so right now is just, like, a point where I feel we're both, like, in a creative zone where it's good to be in our own spaces anyway.
Yeah. Engagement, marriage timeline, and expectations, children. So obviously we want to get married, but we're just growing. We're letting it happen naturally, and there's not expectation of it has to happen at this time or by this time. Obviously, we're excited for that step and that phase, but we're also really excited for what we have going on right now. I love living alone. I love my house. I love what I'm building. I love what you're building too. And we're continuing to come together more and more. And whenever that step is ready to happen, then it'll happen naturally.
Yeah, and I feel like God is really just, like, determines in your heart when you're ready to do it.
Right.
And so we've been through such a long period of just, like, there's been a lot of relating lessons where I can see what it leads up to is, like, you have to clean your relating up a lot before you're even ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, at the end of the day, even with kids and stuff, they're going to reflect you back to yourself. And so if you have issues in how you relate, you're literally creating generational trauma. Mm-hmm. I don't think people give enough attention to that or actually, like, think about the repercussions of who they are and how they're being on the people that will come after them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it's super important to me, at least, to be extremely conscious of ourselves and have growth, number one, because I just want certain things to end after me. I have very high standards with that. Courtney's the same way, obviously.
Yeah.
But I can just speak for myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, for me, it's just, like, cleaning up, operating as a well-oiled, loving machine. Yeah, with, like, some little minions running around.
Yeah.
Be little crackheads.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, we've talked about all of that and, like, how many we want and even names, and it's really exciting. But, yeah, like Mason said, we're prioritizing a lot of, like, generational and personal trauma that we don't want to pass on to our kids or even, like, hold into a marriage, you know? So we're prioritizing that as much as possible. And
yeah, here's a bar for you guys, your audience, is don't worry about parenting a kid until you can parent yourself.
It's true.
So,
how does he bring out your feminine side?
I want you to answer that one first, but pause. It's starting to get to the...
It's like a tiny bit.
Yeah, it's getting to the edge.
Well, I'm happy about this. I'm happy about how this is going. Oh, I think the number one way is how you follow God. Like, that is the number one way that I feel like I can trust him, that he creates a safe space, that he leads, is by creating his relationship with God and bringing that into our relationship and teaching me and leading me in that. I think it's crucial for how you operate as a man and then how our dynamic is between man and woman. So I love that about you, and I just appreciate how much that you've grown in that way. And hearing him talk about God and just like bringing it into every conversation. It's just like the coolest thing, and it just like makes me feel like giddy, honestly.
I think they want to hear some tactical ways.
Well, that is tactical. Talk
Yeah.
with God.
Yeah.
Communication, for sure. Like how well you communicate, how much you want to communicate, even like you expressing your own emotions and being vulnerable with me, it allows me to be even more vulnerable and like trust you. Like more like tactical things of you opening the car door for me, you getting flowers for me, you thinking of me and like getting me something at the grocery store. You just taking care of me, I think is beautiful. Like you buying dinners, and of course you don't always have to, and I don't expect you to take me out all the time and do these things, but when they're done, like I do feel very feminine.
Yeah, so the camera just paused, but as I've learned how to relax into it, that has also brought your guard down.
Right.
And so, honestly, like, it's been a lot of me developing,
Mhm.
and it's just like helped with, obviously you develop too,
For sure.
but like I really only just focus on how I can show up more in myself fully and love myself at a deeper level. Otherwise it doesn't even matter what I do on the outside,
Mhm.
because it wouldn't even be from a genuine place,
Right.
and I couldn't pour into her cup if I wasn't full in myself.
Yeah, another thing with Mason is that he's very decisive and action based. So, like when we're talking about dinner, I remember that in the very beginning dating, like going on dates, he's like, I wasn't used to it. We'll be talking about dinner, and he just like, dinner this time, at this place, which I freaking love. Like, I love that. And so it takes the thought, like, it takes thinking off of my plate. Like, the less stressed that I am, the more feminine I'm able to be.
I was telling her the other day, I was like, I literally just try and do so many things so you don't even understand that they're happening,
Mhm.
because that's what God's doing in my life.
Yeah. How has your faith grown in Jesus during this time so far in being together? I love this question. Okay, number 6.
Charles. For the people on the show, something just snuck up.
I don't think so.
So for me, like, we have different backgrounds. Where you grew up in a more like religiously Christian home.
Mhm.
I grew up in a half Jewish, half Christian home. And so for me, I was raised more on like the Jewish side of how to view reality. And my mom and sister were on the Christian side. But I grew up with both things in the home. I mean, like, I've gone down the consciousness rabbit hole. One time before, I was like almost atheist in a way. Done like the plant medicine side of things. Done a lot of it. Like when we first met, I started going to church with you though.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I started just having more interest in the Bible, but also from a perspective of what I had seen outside of it. And so the stuff I saw from the outside gave me a deeper understanding from what I saw in it, because it was almost like when you zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
That helped me understand who Jesus was, what it means to walk in Christ. And like for me, it's more so just been like this deeper creation of how I relate with Jesus and the life of Jesus, God in general, through how we relate. Because it's like I've learned so many things of like the patience, the forgiveness, understanding, where I'm like, oh, I get it now. Man, I feel bad for him at times. This is hard. You know, it takes a lot of self-sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Spirituality doesn't really have this like religious label for me. It's just purely relation and communication between you and God. Communion.
I have grown a lot in our relationship and the duration of us being together. When Mason and I first met, I went to church, and like you said, I grew up Christian, and so I had that foundation since I was really young. and also went through phases in college. I like considered myself kind of atheist because I didn't know what was going on. College was just a weird time all around.
Yeah.
Prior to Mason and I's relationship, I started to get into spirituality, like kind of new age stuff. And so when him and I met, I was pretty deep in that, but I was also still going to church and like considering myself Christian. I wasn't. And I remember doing like full moon rituals with him, like bringing him to the beach and doing full moon rituals. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But it's just where I was at, and like bringing him into that too. Well, throughout our relationship of growing together, and like when you love someone, you learn a lot about God. And so just through our love, I was able to experience God so much deeper. But also throughout our relationship of going to church and reading the Bible more, back in February, it was even before this, I started going through like different awakening and shedding off a lot of my woo-woo spiritual practices bit by bit until I just like received a very strong conviction of stop being lukewarm and like 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, in ways that I didn't even realize with my relationship with God and Jesus. So yeah, that was a big transformation, and I was really grateful for Mason to like hold space through that, because a lot of things in our relationship changed, and how we related changed, and just like what I was doing, and then also like just the direction of our relationship changed. It was definitely challenging in many ways. Like I would say the last 6 months, like since those convictions, have been really, really challenging, but also the most expansive of our relationship, and like deepening in our relationship with God and allowing that to deepen in our relationship. So I'm so grateful. I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah. And I'm also excited of like the direction that we're headed and like everything that we're building through that. Yeah.
We have these deep talks so much.
We do. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like 75% of our conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do that. Okay, so we got several different versions of this question, but basically, how do we handle intimacy and intimacy before marriage, thoughts on sex before marriage, all of those different types of things.
Yeah, Ninja Napalm.
How hot is it?
133,000.
Okay.
With scorpion peppers.
Okay. You have definitely less than me. Gets it back of your throat. Okay. It's not bad.
I feel like creeping.
A little bit of milk you had in you.
No, let it sizzle for a minute. Feel it. Let it sizzle.
Okay. You want me to start, or do you want you?
You can go for it.
So, thoughts on sex before marriage, intimacy, all of that. When Mason and I first started, I wouldn't say first started dating, we waited a while to be intimate, and then we were intimate, and up until, you okay?
Starting to taste the scorpion a little bit.
Up until February, March, when I got that calling from God to be less lukewarm and kind of just some different convictions, I felt that some things needed to change. And being brought up, my dad always taught me to save myself for marriage. I did not do that. But throughout different points in my life, I kept having this conviction of saving myself for marriage. God came around again and was like, hey, this is something that you need to do. So I brought it to Mason of, hey, this is something that I feel really convicted on, and I would love to at least discuss it and like see how we can navigate this together, because that's a big change. So I brought it to him and we had a conversation, and he was so understanding. Obviously it's like really hard to say those things and also receive them, so I appreciate how the conversation went and how understanding you were. Are you okay?
Starting to feel it.
Well, drink your milk.
Kind of like it.
Okay. You're just like breathing really heavy.
Uh-huh.
Moving from that, we decided that we did want to practice that. So we've been navigating it, and by no means have we been perfect.
Keyword is practice.
Yes. So we are currently, that is our mindset of waiting until we're married. It's been really beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's hard too.
It's really hard.
Like, yeah, I mean, we both have feelings of lust,
Yeah.
you know, it's a very normal thing.
Lust and love, like we love each other so much, and it's really challenging.
Me personally, I felt a period in my life where I didn't feel anything, so it was like, I loved feeling that passion in myself.
Yeah.
And I still do. It's just like more so how you channel it. I think it's good right now because, you know, it's like giving us the space to develop like how we relate and find ways to just be intimate and other ways outside of that. But more so even like for me, I'm just like enjoying creating a deeper level of intimacy with myself, because like lust only stems from a feeling of disconnect with God and craving that. And that's like the body's way of like communicating something that's actually happening underneath, but it's being compensated for on the surface.
Right.
And so, I mean, I just choose to lead it as best as I can.
Yeah.
And I'm a human, so I'm not gonna be like perfect.
No, but you are awesome.
Yeah.
You are awesome. I mean, everything that's happened, we don't regret by any means, but we were just called into a different season, and so we're navigating that together, and we love it here too.
Yeah.
Favorite thing to do together, favorite thing about each other, and maybe fun things planned.
Travis. Tastes great.
That's spicy.
That's hot.
That's spicy. Are you sure? That's only 2,000 more?
Whoa!
That's really spicy.
What in the name of God?
That's really spicy. That's really spicy.
Mm-hmm.
How is that so much more spicy? Your favorite thing about me, quick.
You're adventurous. You're very sweet. Nurturing. Patient. And
oh man. I don't want it to get on my lips.
you make me closer to God.
Anything?
You're so sweet. Like, you bring out like a deeper level of me.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to say it other than like you're very childlike. I love that about you because it keeps me childlike, and it just shows how pure your heart is. You're a good man. Like, you're of your word. You want the world to be a better place. Your character is awesome. You're also very fun to be around. I just have a lot of fun with you. I feel like we can just be our complete selves, and I just love that.
I love you. My face is twitching. It hurts.
Me too. Like, the general public don't look at you and be like, oh, he's so cute and sweet, but I just think he's the cutest and the sweetest person ever. You are. Your heart is so big.
I think you have a huge heart.
You have a ginormous heart.
Here's a expenditiousness.
He also makes up words all the time. I'm getting it.
Baby, you're so good. I be quiet. I am feeling hot and spicy. Oh, I gotta try it. Eating all these lemons. Will I survive it? I I'm like a plane, I'm going so sky high, yeah. Baby, we should get right out of this bar. Eat some hot wings in my car. Use a lemon to save my mouth from suicide.
Yeah, mine's cuddle.
I was gonna say just like nothing other than being with each other.
Cuddle.
Yeah, cuddle.
I love cuddling.
Love to cuddle and snuggle.
Mm.
My cat.
Here's some trips that we want to do. We want to go to Costa Rica and
Yeah, I want to go to
Japan.
Costa Rica and Japan. And we're just like, we've done so much this past year, we're not even thinking about it.
Yeah, they kind of just come up as they come.
They just come up
Really?
and we just jump if we want to do it.
Yeah.
I've been shot.
Have there been sacrifices you have made for each other so far?
Mm. This one is fresco sauce, our bull scorpion. At how much? 820,000.
No!
We're about to 7x. I'm scared. Ready? Shaws. Send it.
I feel like it's gonna come. That one wasn't as hot as the last one. Are you okay?
You don't feel it?
Yeah, it's like in the back of my throat, but it's not as powerful as the last one, I feel like.
I don't think we just got enough.
Not as bad as the last one. Sick.
Nice.
Okay, sacrifices that you've made for the other person.
I wouldn't really call it a sacrifice. I was just like highly business leaning. So like all of my time being in that, I balanced into our relationship too. I had to sacrifice a lot of like aggression, drop more into calmness, remove that from myself.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I'm struggling to think of things that
Yeah,
I've
that's all I can think of.
sacrificed. Of course, you sacrifice time and effort that you put elsewhere, but for me, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice because I love building our relationship and I love spending time with you or for you, on you. It's lingering in my mouth.
Yeah, it does that.
What's something you both didn't know you needed in a partner till you saw it in each other?
Just like affection. Yeah, like touch.
You didn't know you needed that?
I hated being touched by people.
That's the opposite.
I didn't want people to touch me.
Wow.
Which I've realized like we overcompensate in avoidance of what we actually need. Just like being checked up on and actually being like, hey, like I see where you're at and, you know, like I know how you're feeling and just like being seen for that. Because I feel like I didn't have much people checking in on me at that level. And it was always like kind of me doing it. So just like seeing me.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that you do all the time that I'm like, I didn't know that I needed to heal that or that I had that blind spot. Maybe like how sensitive you are and how in tune with energy and emotions as you are. Like, I always knew that I wanted a partner that was emotionally agile and could express themselves, but I feel like you are very, very in tune with that, and it helps me grow in that way. What's the number one ritual you do to keep the passion alive?
The last dab experience, the final one, with 2,693,000 Scoville units. It's made of Pepper X, which is the hottest pepper in the world in Guinness Book of World Records.
Babe,
We can do
I'm
it.
gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. Our ancestors came so far. To die to a pepper?
Ooh, I thought of something that I didn't know I needed. Like, as much encouragement as you give me.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you see like more potential in me than I see in myself.
I say it until you listen and actually believe it.
Yeah. Considered myself very confident and had good self-worth and all those things, but sometimes you need somebody that like sees your potential even farther than you do. Ah, I'm getting a little tiny dab.
Oh God.
Little tiny dab. Ah!
Don't do that. Get some more.
Yours is so tiny. You're so annoying. You're like, get some more, and then you take the tiniest dab in the world. 2 million. Yeah, mine's bigger than yours.
You just have a crunched up piece. Oh my God. No. No.
Babe, I have so much.
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Oh.
It's building.
It's building up. What was the question? Oh, how we keep the passion alive?
Yeah. Number one ritual to keep the passion alive.
Dating each other.
Yeah, I love that. We have like ABC date nights. We go on weekly dates.
Dating each other and just like being real
Mm-hmm.
about where we're at. Like you can't have intimacy unless you're like real
Yeah.
and just like express yourself.
Yeah.
And so that naturally leads to passion
Yeah. I think a big thing is just continuing to be curious about the other person.
together.
Yeah, we just like are very adventurous. I feel like we try different things. We're kind of idiotic. And I think that just forces you to keep the passion alive because you're growing in different ways. Like,
Oh, match me.
that's
Oh my
so
God, I'm
much.
scared.
That's a lot. That's more than you.
That's not.
That's way more than you.
Fuck. 3, 2, 1. Down the hatch. Oh God.
That was a mistake.
I'm sweating.
That was a mistake. Are you okay?
I'm getting primal. It's coming. It's coming. The hot ones are coming.
Babe,
Here we go.
that's so hot.
I'm holding off. I'm holding the line.
Ah. Ah.
Ah! And I'm free. Spirit lead me when my mouth is straight up running.
Alright, knock off.
Yeah.
The drama.
And I can fit in an electric chair.
I feel like doing new things as we grow ourselves, you can't help but continue to learn about the other person. Being childlike is like a key aspect. And that's why one of my favorite things about Mason is that I feel like it just helps our relationship so much because he's so childlike.
You can't let reality get you down.
Yeah. Well.
Children don't get like down about reality as much.
That's true.
They just keep being children through the storm.
It's true. I've eaten so much yogurt.
In fact, they go dance in the rain. That was poetic.
That was.
Truly, truly.
Last question.
Do you think if Jesus lived in Italy, he'd be saying this when he was saying the truth?
For sure. Last question.
Truly, I tell you.
If I was a worm, would you still love me?
What kind?
Like a fat, chubby worm.
Yeah. Am I human?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd make you like a pet. I'd give you like a worm house with dirt. You have dirt, and you have a little like palm tree, tiny thing in there. I'd build like an underground cave system for you, even though you can dig. You'll still have like a custom cave system, and it'll have neon lights and stuff. And every time you go in, you'll have a little tiny piece of twine that triggers a little like speaker that plays Country Road, Take Me Home. So as you go through the speaker, you go through the tunnel of Country Road. Does money or financial stability matter for something real to last? I don't know what the context of this is being asked in, but yeah, you gotta have money to do the things you want to do, so it's very important. We had a conversation the other day about just getting more aligned on finances, and you gotta work together on it, because like, say someone dies, like you gotta both be able to, manage that. It's just ignorant and stupid for only one person to know that. So it does matter, but it's not like what makes the relationship. Money's just a manifestation of who you are energetically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can have financial stability and lots of money, whatever, and relationship can still fail. But I think it is a valuable and important part of a relationship, especially if you want to have kids. It's not even important, it's essential. You shouldn't be having kids if you can't afford to have kids, and to have that financial stability so that they don't get wounds from your lack of financial stability.
Yeah, not even like forget about your kids or partner for a minute, like yourself. Like, do you really want to go through life not having like the financial means you want to?
Yeah.
It's like, do you have a relationship with yourself financially? And if not, that's a problem. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, sit there and actually look at yourself and ask yourself why. Because it's like, that means there's a block or a limit or a fear, which is okay, because we all have gone through it at some point. But are you really going to let a limit or a fear keep you from experiencing the abundance you want? And so as soon as you allow yourself to do that, then you'll have a partner who does too, and you'll be on the same wavelength.
But I would like to say that, do I think that you have to have those things for something real to last? No. I think that you could make it through those challenges and seasons, but it is going to create a lot more challenges for you to navigate with your partner than if you had that under locks. A male that's a provider, it's very important for him to be able to do those things. I think it's an important aspect of the dynamic in a family and relationship, but also a woman, like you said, should have the mental know-how and fortitude to be able to do those things if you were to pass away. Were either of you unable to open up to the other? If so, how did you overcome? I realized I had a lot of walls and protections up from my last relationship, for sure, but also just childhood that I didn't realize, and relationships with men and just traumas that had happened in the past. And so it's been a gradual experience of opening up more and more and trusting Mason more and more. But I think just the patience for each other to do that, and holding space, like when triggers came up, were really, really important. But I think more than anything, you've just been really patient, and I've been really patient with you too as we've grown into, deepened into our relationship, because we both had walls up and we both had protection mechanisms. We're scared in different ways, but I think it's just been a slow process of learning each other more and more.
It's really just like a choice in a situation.
Yeah.
It's like you either choose to run away or you go into it.
Yeah.
I think we've both taken on that mindset of it is a good thing when things come up. It is good to be different people. Life would be extremely boring if we were the same person. It would suck, and you'd be stagnant. And it's like you can only grow when you have two separate people.
Mason, when we first started talking to now, is such a different person. Like, he was also much more aggressive versus now, like, biggest teddy bear. You're like the biggest teddy bear, my cutie little Scentsy man, and I love it. And of course, like you're so very manly, but you've just opened up in that other aspect. It's like a door was unlocked and it revealed like so much more deeper underneath.
I was also scared of like intimacy at a deeper level.
Mm.
And so, like, sometimes I feel like I couldn't express myself fully when they're out, too. So I'd be, like, kind of nervous. You know, at that time, thought, like, oh, man, I want to be, like, projected. Or, you know, like, the typical things.
For both men and women, but especially a woman in a relationship, like, when a man opens up and shows his emotions or is vulnerable, to never hold that against him or make him feel less or small because of that. Like, I feel like that's the worst thing that a woman could do.
Yeah, that's like, you will, ladies, you do that to a guy, do not be surprised when he walks away. Honestly, I don't blame him, because that's like, it's hard for guys today.
So hard for them, yeah.
It's hard for guys, yeah, like when you're told as a dude to not show your emotion, and when you finally do it, it's an act of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like curb stomping the guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a no bueno thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good place to end it.
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is it. Thank you for joining us with these hot sauces.
We survived.
We survived. Honestly, I thought it was going to be worse.
We did hold back.
Really?
I mean, look how much sauce we got left.
Well, I don't think that we needed to eat it all.
No, we would have died. We're hot ones.